Okay, welcome back. I hope you're excited as I am to be done reviewing this RFP. It's kind of crazy, right? There's a lot of content here. Where we left off was the second section, use of climate data within this evaluation scoring rubric. So pay attention to both what it's saying and also how much weight it's given. That way when you go back to your own application, you can review those things. The next section is environmental justice, areas of concern. Project encompasses in its scope, is located in and or will yield benefits for the underserved communities within the areas of concern for environmental justice. Project benefits the EJ communities. If there is potential for harm, the project will lead. This is a really important piece to emphasize, and I do think that they have a question that specifically asks. Okay, next one. Engagement and involvement. Project seeks to involve a broad array of community residents, organizations, and institutions in the local jurisdiction's efforts to address climate change, and or project seeks to implement an action contained in a local jurisdiction's existing plan, which we are going to, that was developed involving a broad array of community residents, organizations, and institutions. So yes, they're saying, do you plan on involving a bunch of people across a wide range of disciplines, industries in this process? Or was the process of creating the plan such that you had lots of people from across different industries, all walks of life, who were involved in that project? That's basically what it's asking here. And then it says, if the geographic area includes or affects environmental justice areas of concern, the project seeks to give or has already given these communities a collaborative voice in decision making through substantive engagement. I like that line a lot. That's really nice. So it's like that leadership piece, right? And just making sure that you're following through on saying, is this truly equitable or not, and how you've designed it. Next section, worth 10 points. Co-benefits for lasting impact. Project as detailed in the application is well structured to provide co-benefits to the community that help ensure lasting impact. For example, planning project will also meet application requirements for identified funding opportunity, assign direct responsibility or timeline for implementation of included actions. Okay, that's not really relevant. Okay, so let's focus on this one. Or, implementation project also will reduce local non-greenhouse gas pollutants. That's fine. I mean, we could definitely say that that's true. Provide a widely used community amenity, not just for protection from extreme weather. This, again, is where I'm really thinking about that physical infrastructure piece. Is like, for example, let's say we wanted to create a multi-use space that serves as an outlet for different food businesses, for example, like a food hall, that is built to also be a shelter, right? So like the construction specs are up to the standards that it also serves as a tornado shelter, or it's open to the public. So in the case of extreme heat, people can go there for air conditioning. There are some really cool examples that I've been seeing here in Santa Teresa in Costa Rica, which is where I'm currently recording from, that are all of these really interesting multi-use spaces, multiple businesses that are housed in the same spot. But of course they're all open air, so they're not necessarily designed for that. But I'm just planting seeds here about how you can be thinking about this. The multi-use space thing I think is really big, especially in small towns. Okay, next one, it says achieve local energy independence, provide peak power shaving, increase transportation accessibility, increase access to healthy food, and reduce energy bills. So for sure, there's at least 3 things in that are coming to mind. Oops. So let's look at the co-benefits. And again, see how I'm doing that? I'm like Control F, Command F to find these things quickly. All projects, describe any additional specific measurable outcomes from co-benefits. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to paste this, and I'm just going to say examples and then make this list. That way it's a little bit clearer. I don't think the energy independence piece and that one, but the healthy foods for sure. So this is what we're going to include, and we'll just keep that in this little thing. What does go away? Okay, so yeah, that's roughly what we've got there. Coming back. Barriers and challenges. project appears well positioned to overcome potential barriers and challenges to achieve a successful outcome. Good. Project applications identified metrics to measure project success. Yes. For an implementation project, positive environmental and or human health outcomes expected to result from the project are detailed. We have a really awesome list that one of our project partners put together, and I will share that with you as we continue this process. Experience and qualifications, organizations, and specific individuals that will do the work on the project are qualified for their roles with the knowledge, skills, abilities, partnerships carry out. They're basically just saying, are you qualified to be able to do this work? That one is worth 10 points. It's a total of 100. And then this one is if you are developing or updating an action plan, so this one is not relevant for this grant application. Oh, and then I think that was the end because, yes, basically this is just a list of a bunch of resources and tools that are available to people who are creating their plans. And then Exhibit C, this is one that I'm going to have to get assistance with because I don't have this information. The organization that will be listed as the lead applicant, they're going to have to fill out this information. Describe your history of performing the work that will be funded by the grant. This includes describing your organization's current staffing and current budget. And then you have to say, okay, have you received this money in the past, or have you received money from the MPCA in the past 5 years? And then this is just to make sure that you're not a criminal, make sure that you're in good standing with the state. If you're a nonprofit, provide the right forms, and then that's it. So this video is pretty short just to be able to add on to the rest of the RFP. Thank you for making it to this point. And in the next one, we will get more into the writing process, which I'm really excited about. And again, pulling up ChatGPT to provide assistance in just streamlining that process. I think one of the things that you have probably noticed up to this point that I have spent several hours preparing for the writing process. That is pretty much indicative of any grant that you will write. Why? Because you've got an 18-page document to review. That's just the instructions. Then you have the application to review. There's going to be, a work plan template, which I haven't even dug into yet. So that's here. And so I'm going to need to think out, and this might be where honestly I just grab like a sheet of paper and I start to sketch out and think about, okay, these are the different activities that we want to take place based on when we think it's going to start, which honestly I would say, like, let's look at the fall, because if something is going to be, we're notified that it's to begin in July, we probably want to give ourselves another month or two before the funds are actually in place to get started on the project. So that's like September, essentially. In that case, we'd want to look at some of this stuff, the project description, deliverables, work plan tasks, and subtasks, right? You generally want to ask what's happening, who is doing it, when is it taking place? And it shows that here. I can zoom in just a little bit, but this is going to be, again, another one of the documents that I'm looking at. Subtasks. They're giving you a template, essentially. What's a description of the activities? What's the time frame? Who is the person responsible for it? And then it just keeps going like that. So they have a pretty good format for the plan, and basically it says it's going to be incorporated into the grant agreement, and the reporting requirements for your project will follow the same format. So that's another one. And then I believe this is the original document of the budget template as well. So you're given a cost category, a unit, quantity. So like, for example, this could be dollars per hour. And then this is how many hours in that case if you're doing that kind of a unit. What does that end up being in terms of grant funds? What is the budgeted cash match? What is the in-kind match? And one of the things that I'll talk about as I start to build out this budget is using fringe benefits and salary as an in-kind match if you are able to dedicate time to this work, for example, as part of your salaried position. Because I am paid at an hourly rate and I'm self-employed, I am a contractor with Clay County. So I don't, and I wish that I were in that point, but I'm not yet, to be able to pay myself a salary. I basically have like my cash flow is like this right now. And so it's just like, I'll take the cash when I can get it. But oftentimes I'm paying the rest of my team before I can pay myself. That's something I'm working on. But let's say I was in a position of earning a salary. I could take my fringe benefits and put that as an in-kind match. What does that even mean? It basically means someone else is paying for my fringe benefits, but that is a real cost of my time. I'm willing to take that value as a contribution to this work so that basically this grant doesn't have to pay for that. That's what it's saying. And so in kind is like a donation, essentially. You're saying, I will provide these services or this time as my contribution to this project, and I do not expect money in return for that. The same thing will happen, so not just the fringe benefits, but if you're taking time from your salary, for example, you could say like 0.5 FTE, which is basically like half time. And if you're working a 40-hour work week, that basically says 20 hours a week. If you were saying this is an in-kind match, I will be providing the value of my time of 20 hours per week towards this project. And then that is what allows you to meet what they have. It's called match requirements. In the case for this one, we're looking at 25,000 as what we need to provide as a as a match. And if we, and I think under this, let's look at this again. This is the application draft, and this is the final. So I'm just going to look up match requirement. Minimum match requirements for activities taking place in local. Okay, 50% in local funds. It doesn't say how those local funds have to be identified. It doesn't say in cash. It says in local funds. So I say as long as it's coming from the region, as a local employer, for example, that's within the realm of possibility. If I wanted to provide time in kind, meaning time that I'm working towards a project that I'm not getting paid, that could also be something that goes in and is a line item. So we'll dig into that a little bit more later. Thanks for watching, and we will continue with the grant writing process shortly.